painting and say this is beautiful or ugly. Talking about this part of the conflict is looking at part of it, which is 2 dimensions. We will have to look at 3 dimensions, in 3 dimensions way, in order to see things as it is. What you call it terrorism, we call it resistance in this region, whether you accept it in the West or not. This is about occupation. If you occupy a land, a civilian shouldn't exist in this land. He doesn't have the right to exist in this land. He should leave it. He should go to his land. So, this is my land. As long as I'm defending my land, you cannot talk about terrorism. This is first. Second, if you want to describe what the Palestinians do, you have to describe what the Israelis is doing on daily basis about the killing, how many Palestinians killed for how many Israeli killed. You cannot compare. The Israelis are killing with their airplane. Using airplanes, killing Palestinian is not terrorism, while suicide bomber is a terrorist. Actually, suicide bomber, because he doesn't have tank or cannon or airplane to carry this bomb, he used himself. That's the difference. It's a mean. It's a different means. It's not different.
But just to make it clear, so you would not say that you don't believe in this form of terrorism or resistance. This is a mean that you accept as a political mean to achieve a goal.
It's action and reaction. When you have attack on the people, they will use any mean to defend themselves. Anyhow. It's a reaction. You cannot talk about the reaction without talking about the action. So when you ask me that question, you ask me about the reaction. I cannot answer about the reaction without talking about the action. That's why I said we have to be panoramic. We have to look in a panoramic way. I cannot talk about isolated case because this won't be realistic and won't be objective. That's why we have to look at the Israeli actions.
But I think what I'm trying to get at is, and also why I asked what will you do personally, is sometimes when you talk to leaders in this region, whether it's Israeli, whether it's Arabs, it's the same. The others can do something. At one point, this got to stop. The Israelis will say, we cannot make peace as long as suicide bombers are blowing up our buses or markets.
It's not about suicide bombers, it's killing. The Israelis are killing civilian Palestinians, and the Palestinians are retaliated by killing Israeli civilians. That's the picture. Whether they call them suicide bomber, you like it or not. Why do you don't like suicide bomber while you like airplanes? Is it about the mean or about the content, about the core of the issue, which is killing? You kill, I retaliate. That's it. This is the situation in the Palestinian territory. But the Israeli can kill so many folds, tens of folds, in comparison with what the Palestinian can do. That's the only difference. We're talking about suicide bomber, why and how. This is very superficial. We don't have to waste our time talking about. If he has cannon, he will use cannon. He won't have to use his body. That's the difference.
But then, I mean, an organization like Hamas, who have connections, close connections, ties to Syria, to your country, they use all these kinds of means, and you see that as a legitimate fight.
As a reaction, it is normal reaction. Whether it's legitimate or not, this is normal, because this is the human nature. We cannot talk about law without taking into consideration the normal reaction of the people. When you attack, you'll be attacked. That's how we see it. Doesn't matter if it's legitimate or not. This is different point of view. We can have different point of views about this table. You can say this is beautiful. I will say no, this is ugly. But at the end, it's a table. So I'm talking about the fact. I'm not talking about the opinion. Opinions has nothing to do with it. It's reality. When you want to solve a problem, we have to deal with the reality, not with our opinion or with our mood. So that's
when you, for instance, meet, and I assume that you do every now and then, you meet with the leaders of Hamas. Will you say, I don't think it's a good idea to go and do this? Or do you say, go on, because I think it serves a purpose?
No, I would say Israel is doing bad things. It's killing Palestinians every day. And every Palestinian, whether Hamas or any other one, has the right to defend himself and to make resistance, to be very clear.
Let's also just talk about Hezbollah.
Yeah.
Because that, of course, also from the outside world, and at least the US, will be used as one of the things where they say that this actually shows that Syria, in some ways, support terrorism. How do you feel about that?
No. That's why the West is failing in every aspect, because they don't see the reality. Whoever say this. But I think the West started to learn that this is not true. It's an organization that has representatives in the parliament elected democratically. They have ministers in the government. They represent large swath of the Lebanese society. You cannot describe the people in Lebanon, whole society, as terrorist society. That's not realistic.
If I may, I would like to ask you just a couple of personal questions.
Yeah.
You are a busy man. You're a politician. You have your father of 3 children. When you take your time off, what do you like to do?
I don't believe that anyone couldn't find the time when he can arrange things as priority. So you have time for your children, you have time for reading, you have time for sports, and you have time for work. You shouldn't say that you're a busy man, you don't have time. If you're a busy man, you don't have time, you don't know how to manage your time.
So you take time to relax with your children, or what do you do?
That's my duty.
Yeah.
You have duty toward your family, and especially in this region. In our region, the family ties are very strong. I find a way. We wake up early. We woke up 6 o'clock this morning. We had time to sit for an hour and a half before they left to school and before I went to my work. You can find a way.
And you enjoy that time?
Of course, it's very important. Family is a very important part of our life in the East in general. Yeah. So saying that you're busy and you don't have time for your family, why did you have family if you don't have time for it? Yeah. It's better not to have family.
Yeah, that's true. Let me just ask you this. I remember I talked to the former American President, Bush, and I asked him a question. Yeah. And I said, a man as powerful as you, what is the last thing you think about before you fall asleep at night? And you are a powerful man. You live in a region that is troubled. You have a large responsibility towards your countrymen. What do you think about just before you fall asleep?
The last thing that you read about. That depends. There's nothing important. I mean, you have to think about before you sleep. It's better not to think about anything in order to be relaxed. So to wake up in the morning fresh, then you start thinking. So this is part of arranging your priorities. When to think, when to control your thinking, not to be part of your work every minute. You have to keep thinking, but not to be overwhelmed, because you have other things which is more trivial than your work, but it's important for your lifestyle in order to wake up early, to think in the right way. So sometimes you don't have things. You have to live as a normal person in your house. You have to be detached from all the worries and problems. This is where you can succeed in your work, not vice versa.
Will you bring peace to the Middle East?
Will I bring peace? I will do my best to bring peace. But that question is about the different players that we have. It's not a ship with one leader, with one captain. It's a ship with many captains to achieve that shore.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. It was a pleasure talking to you. I
Thank
really
you.
enjoyed it, and it's nice to be in your country.
Thank you. Thank you
very much.
Very nice to meet you too.